Wow. Massive loading delay. How's it going, everybody? How are you doing this wonderful Wednesday? Happy Hump Day. Galactic in the house. 3D print science. Peter. Philip. Hey, long time no see. RC Flying Dave. Brian. Duo, you need balls. Dude, I have balls. Trust me, I got balls. Bob, welcome. Skippy in the house. Aaron, welcome. We will get started here momentarily. Just wait for some people to start trickling in as the hopefully notifications go out and my tweet hopefully goes out. Then we'll get started. Perry, howdy everyone from surprisingly mild New York. Mild as opposed to what? Greg, Jim, John, ¿cómo estás, señor? Duo needs balls. Probably. You said it, not me. Make that smaller. Move that there. Alright. Where's the hat? We can't start without the hat. The hat's right there. You can see the hat. The 30-minute reminder was nice. Huh? What 30-minute reminder? What? Makerbot night. We making the bot. Makerbot. Indian summer. That's what's going on in New York. Huh. Alright. Interesting. How's the camera view? This is a different camera. I forgot to link it in the description. This is a Sony X3000 action camera, actually. And it's connected to my Blackmagic capture cards like before. But it's a lot smaller camera. Gets a little bit wider field of view. Significantly wider field of view, actually. And it's easier to work with compared to having my massive Sony AX33. In comparison, this is like maybe an 1/8 or a 1/10 of the size. It's tiny compared to that. So, is XYZ open source? I don't know. It's not a topic for tonight. Duo has balls, but they are not making him peppy. Oh man, YouTube sent my phone a 30-minute reminder. Really? I did not set that. That's good to know. YouTube is doing this 30-minute reminder thing, sends a notice 30 minutes before stream starts. Huh. Awesome. Let's see here. Hey Big Ben, how's it going? XYZ is not open source. Okay. XYZ just followed me before the show. I got a follow notification from XYZ following me on Twitter. Had the stream started, or is it me? It started, sort of. People are already leaving, apparently. We were up to 30 viewers, now we're down to 27. Anyways, let's get our drink on so we can get our show on. Or something like that. Isn't that... Somebody probably coined that already, huh? Anyways, BAWLS was ever so kind enough to send me some of their ginger balls. So I have no idea how this is going to taste with rum. I imagine this would taste really good with vodka, because I like a good vodka ginger ale. But I'm going to try it with rum, just because that's kind of the theme of the show. We'll see what happens. But yeah, this is BAWLS new ginger. I've had it before. It's actually pretty strong. But I'm not too sure what my thoughts would be on it with rum. So we'll find out. Got my BAWLS cup, Captain BAWLS. Wow, you got 5,600 subs now. Yes, I do. I'm not sure where my influx of subs came from randomly, but I have gotten more recently. I should say that they make the wrong head, Peppy. Need balls in my brain. Are all your cameras linked into your capture card? I have multiple capture cards. But yes, except for my webcam, it's just USB. But my other two cameras go through capture. Hey Jim, how's it going? If you watch Tom's video, they have no clue what open source is. Oh wow. I drink ginger and rum. I like it. Okay, well we'll find out what ginger and rum tastes like. I've never had it. Got my big old Captain Morgan rum. This bottle was graciously given to me by my good friend DeRusso Design. Check him out on Twitter. He gave me this bottle for my birthday a couple months ago, and just now got a chance to crack it open. So we have lots of rum to go forward. And we got our BAWLS. Ginger beer and rum is good. Oh, I like a good what do you call them? Moscow Mule. I love a good Moscow Mule. But I don't know, for some reason it didn't click with me having rum and ginger. I don't know why. Wow, you can smell the ginger. I can smell the ginger on this. It's so strong. Holy crap. And so, wow, so foamy. Holy crap, my whole desk just got covered with fizz. Holy cow. That was like very messy. The other flavors do not do that, I assure you. That's wow. So, got our hat. Getting a haircut tomorrow. Was supposed to get it today, but my stylist had to reschedule on me. Family first, you know, that sort of thing. But, cheers. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty good. Well, thank you, BAWLS, for the ginger BAWLS. This stuff's pretty good. Give them a tweet, thank them, because they did they just sent it to me. I didn't ask for it or anything. I didn't notice that I was getting ginger BAWLS. I'm like, huh, okay, very cool. Thank you so much. As long as you have an orange cup, drink meow meow. Hey, Mr. Purr. Let's see here. Saving up for my Mark III, almost halfway there. Awesome. Mark III is on my wish list. I might get one soon. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. I'll take credit for the influx of subscribers. I had little or nothing to do with it, but I'll take the credit. Okay, it's Randall's fault that I got more subscribers. There we go. Mystery has been solved. Rise against the discipline. How's it going, dude? Or the disciple, even. I can English. I need more. Yummy ice. So have you decided what you're going to do with the daylight saving times comes? I'm not sure, actually. Humming ginger balls into a tune of Jingle Bells. Holy crap, dude. Come on. My Mark III is ordered now. Oh, wow. Congratulations, dude. All right, you guys. Let's get started. Full disclosure, this show is sponsored by the ever so gracious Tolman 3D. Check them out, Tolman3D.com. Check them out on the Twitters at Tolman3D. Give them a tweet. Thank them for the sponsorship. They're freaking awesome. They've been around for several months now. And they make some pretty good nylon filaments. We got some projects coming up, hopefully, here in the near future that I'm going to be doing a lot of nylon printing. I've got a lot of nylon, Tolman's nylon, even from like before they ever sponsored the show. I've just never used it because, well, you do kind of need like a all metal hot end in most cases for nylon printing, and not all of my machines are set up for that. So yeah, do some printing with some nice Tolman's nylon here coming up. And a shout out to our sponsor, Fanes.co. Give them a check out on the web, Fanes.co. They have a nice little plugin for WordPress, so you can run your own variation of 3D hubs or print, make XY or whatever the heck that site is. You can run your own quoting software and everything. It's all built into a WordPress plugin, and does all the estimating for you based on different values. You can load in STL models. Your customers can place orders to you, and you can approve them and accept them and whatnot. It's pretty cool. Check it out. Working on some new revisions recently. I've been getting a lot of update notifications saying that they've made some new updates to the software, so they've been pretty actively developing it recently, it seems like. So give them a check out. As always, sponsors of this show have zero input or control over the content on this show, nor do they share like-minded opinions on these topics. I would assume most cases anyways. But with that said, everything on this show is live. Everything is my own personal opinions and thoughts. If you have any problems with anything said on the show, please feel free to reach out to me after the show. I will be more than interested in listening to what you have to say. I've been proven wrong several times, and I've had my mind changed a couple times. So I'm human too. But with that said, you're probably here because you care about hearing what I have to say about the topic. And if not, you're probably just here to see how badly I can screw up English, or people's names, or how wrong I could be, or just see me like rant about somebody. No, why are you watching? Cheers, you guys. Tico responded today, first time in months. Can you have a look at what they said and comment on what you think they mean? Where did they respond to you? I haven't seen any updates or anything from Tico. Send me a message or remind me after the main portion of the stream. We'll take a look at it in the Q&A section. I know we didn't do a Q&A last week. We will do one this week. My apologies. Full disclosure, if you tell him to drink enough during the stream, the show has the potential to be lit. Wow, I just got an email. You are now live. I thought snail mail was slow. Don't forget about the moisture too. I was printing with PVA. Yeah, that was the other reason. As a sponsor, I can say shit about... I can say shit is about to get real when he makes this statement. Wow. Anyways, no, we're not doing Kickstarters today. Maybe next week we'll do Kickstarters. We haven't done Kickstarters in a while, and there's been a number of them that have been quite interesting. But anyways, let's move on. Tonight's topic is Makerbot. That seemed like it would be more dramatic in my head. Anyways, Makerbot made an announcement actually today, 11 hours ago. Makerbot introduces the Makerbot Labs and an experimental 3D printing platform for engineers and developers. Okay. Phone's going off. Why is the phone going off? Apparently I have a message from one of my mods. Interesting. I do have to go follow up on the Tico thing. Okay, I'll leave that open so that I can double back on that before the end of the show. Anyways, Makerbot introduces Makerbot Labs, an experimental 3D printing platform for engineers and developers. Woo! Fusion 3 ad. 2016, Makerbot announced that it would be shifting its company focus to the professional and educational and away from the consumer market. This would be about the time... Yeah, I saw it, Ann. Thank you. This would be about the time that we saw Makerbot start really shifting to the closed source system, or I think that actually they've already been at this point already. They've closed sourced their machines. People have already kind of turned their backs on them. They've shifted their attention away from the maker community and just kind of going for where the customer base needs something that's more point and click, not somebody who wants to tinker with their machines, supposedly. Let's see here. Company, and away from it. In this vein, the company announced that the launch of the new experimental platform for engineers and developers called Makerbot Labs, or M-Labs for short. M-Labs. The platform will be offering several new products, such as custom printed models for Makerbot print software. Wouldn't that be Thingiverse? I'm confused. As well as new customizable hardware, software, and open APIs. Makerbot, right? the closed source company owned by Stratasys. Customizable hardware and software. Okay. Let's see here. It gives the users more freedom to experiment with advanced materials and 3D printing features while offering them access to the internet's largest community of 3D printing experts. According to Makerbot, the new M Labs platform was born out of feedback from Makerbot's advanced users looking to tap their innovative spirit and expand their 3D printing experience. God damn, I ran out of breath saying that. Okay, so basically, in short, this is born from the feedback of Makerbot's former users complaining about the lack of innovation and expandability of their 3D printers. Kind of. That's what everybody's been saying. If you guys try to say anything to me in the chat, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to catch it right now. But I will try to catch as much as I can. Let's see here. I'm not going to worry about the quote from the company. I'm more curious about... Well, I'm curious about that now. Experimental extruder? That didn't make it any easier to read. There's some interesting models here. We've got them tearing apart a smart extruder, it looks like. Not sure why they need all the plans for the Moai. Okay. Platform is described as a powerful sandbox, which gives users a way to experiment with pushing the limits of the technology, which allows them to have a safe place to fall back, namely Makerbot's other tried and true solutions. Users have access to the platform's range of featured materials, which includes 4 unique color fab filaments, or they can feel free to experiment. Do you see the overachieving theme here with their own? Interesting. Makerbot Labs has released several new products for the platform, first of which is the new experimental extruder with a design that can be modified. There we go. Whoa, it's an animation. So we've got a smart extruder with a removable nozzle. Okay. And a removable fan shroud. And it comes apart. Okay. Oh, it's just gonna loop. Okay, cool. So for those of you who don't know, right now the ecosystem for Makerbot, everything is closed. It's closed source. It's not modifiable. If you open up your smart extruder, you pretty much void the warranty on it instantly. If you try to make any modifications to your printer, you pretty much void it instantly. You use third-party filaments, you pretty much void everything instantly. Basically, you do anything outside of the Makerbot ecosystem, you pretty much void any and all warranties on the machine. That is quite expensive, to say the least. And these smart extruder assemblies, if I recall correctly, usually don't have a removable nozzle. They're a wear and tear product from what I understand from reading through reviews. And so yeah, it's fairly expensive as well. And they just want you to like take it and replace it and then go on. But now they've got this experimental extruder with a design that can be modified. That is completely contradictory to everything that they've been ranting and chanting for like the last, what, 2.5, 3 years almost. So it's kind of interesting. The extruder was designed for advanced Makerbot users in order to customize their 3D printing experience with 4 interchangeable nozzles. Woo! However, you should note that the product is not yet covered. The product is not yet covered under warranty or company's maker care. So if you're looking for a more stable platform, you can download the experimental extruder jig from Thingiverse. You get to print the jig. Ooh. Alright. This jig makes it easier to change the nozzles on the Makerbot experimental extruder. Touché. Let's see here. It has a modified thermal core and thermal barrier tube and is easy to swap out. The extruder's large diameter draft nozzle allows for higher speed draft printing, reducing the total print time by up to a whopping 75%. A harder stainless steel nozzle lets you print abrasive materials such as metal composites. Okay, what's this? I just shown an animation showing the extruder, kind of teasing it. Looks like it comes with a 0.4, go away ad, 0.4, 0.6, and 0.8, and then a steel 0.6, and some wrenches. Okay. Keep going. Experimental extruder not covered under warranty or maker care. They keep expressing that. That's the animation we saw earlier. That's tear down. Smart extruder. Or experimental extruder. Alright. Desperate for that sweet Prusa customer base. Experimental normal. Like the gloves. Last time I checked, in order to buy their strong filament, if that was the name, they forced you to buy a special extruder for it. For every 2 spools, you had to buy the extruder. Whoa! And welcome, James. Thanks for stopping by. This platform is also releasing new custom print models for Makerbot printer software. Users can now import and export different custom print setting configurations as well. Export different custom print setting configurations. We'll double back to that in just a minute. As well as define their own models or test out ones from the greater Makerbot Labs community on Thingiverse. Speaking of the MLab community, it's a resource hub for users. You can submit your own custom print models, discuss application techniques, unlock new advanced print settings, or collaborate on new apps and APIs. Check out Makerbot Labs API forum or GitHub page and get your hands on documentation about software and hardware APIs for Makerbot Labs. Regurgitated there. Join the lab page. This is, what is this? Just showing stuff. Looks like they're printing, what was that? This one. The smart extruder. And then we've got the experimental extruder, just kind of clicks in. And they change the nozzle. It looks like they are... Are you going to show me? What? What happened? Why'd you skip it? You're cruel. Why'd you do that? Anyways, there it is again. I want to see that. So they've got... Go away. Various wood fills and bronze fill from Color Fab that they're featuring that they're going to be using. Okay. So that's the extent of the 3dprint.com post. And then there's another one at 3ders.org, which is essentially a little bit more detailed, but the same kind of stuff, talking about the experimental extruder. And then we go over to let's see here. Why is names missing? Okay. So now we go over to Makerbot Labs. This is the makerbot.com/labs. For some reason, I scrolled all the way down. Experimental platform. This is regurgitated the news report that we're seeing. Together, let's push the boundaries of what's possible. Okay. Customizable hardware and software, custom material print models. Okay. Extruder, shop now. $199. Okay, so it's about the same cost as a smart extruder because it's a smart extruder. Experimental extruder for Makerbot Replicator Plus Mini Plus, Replicator Z18. So it sounds like it is compatible with pretty much any Makerbot that has the smart extruder currently. Designed for advanced user who wants to push the limits of what's possible. Drafting speed, PLA, designed to be customized. Okay. The tech specs. So these are the supported machines, it looks like. 175 filament. Looks like you have to upgrade your firmware in your Makerbot print software version. Included nozzles, tools, accessories. Goes up to 135C. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay, let's go back here. Interesting. Yeah, it looks just like the smart extruder. Drafting, I guess they're referring to the 0.8 nozzle, hence the picture of the quality. Designed to be hacked. What? This is Makerbot. Designed to be hacked. Customizable hardware experience with modified thermal core and more secure thermal barrier. Experimental extruder was redesigned to make changing nozzles easier. Download and print the experimental extruder jig to provide more stable. Okay. Nozzle hacking is is what they're going after. Print modes, save, explore, popular, cool. We got some models here to download. Neat. APIs and a GitHub, I guess. Join the lab. Attributions. Cool. So, what is going on here? Why the hell am I even bothering talking about this? Well, why is this relevant? What are they doing? Yada, yada, yada. No, stream's over. No, I'm kidding. I need a drink. So is it going to require you to change out the cartridge to accept experimental extruder? I'm not familiar enough with Makerbots to see how they are quick change. Okay, well, I guess I'll leave this open then. Where is the picture of that? They showed that here somewhere. Maybe it was on that other page. Anyways, the extruder assembly is like clip-on or magnetized or whatever. I've not used one in person. But the whole extruder assembly just like plugs into the print head or the print gantry. So if it has issues or it jams up, you just pull it off. Literally, you just literally pull it off, and then you put on the new one. So in this essence, you pull off the smart extruder and you put on the experimental extruder, and you get going. Hacked usually indicates that you are reverse engineering a closed source system. So, huh? Exactly. Designed to be hacked. Extruder doesn't work at all, and jams consistently replaced with your own custom fix. Oh, jeez. Okay. So, what the hell, right? What is this? What appears to be like a last-ditch effort to try to appeal to the masses or whatever. So I reached out to Makerbot and I actually got a response. I was able to interview a representative over at Makerbot and bounce some questions off them and try to get some clarification, figure out what it is that they think they're doing here. The answers were actually kind of unexpected. So let's talk a little bit first. So the experimental extruder is a drop-in replacement or drop-in expansion to replace the smart extruder. Essentially, it's still a smart extruder. But what makes it so significant, different, or whatever? Why? Well, initially, the smart extruder, by design, the nozzle is not replaceable. You wear out the nozzle, you replace the entire assembly. Or if you get a really, really bad jam or wear out the assembly, you replace everything altogether. You just replace the whole module. With that being said, they released this product. Who knows why? It was pretty interesting talking to the rep that I was talking to at Makerbot, because they released the product in response to requests by their advanced users, because they do still have a customer base of some sort, it appears, mostly prototyping in schools and such. But they had requests to be able to use exotic filaments and whatnot, things that you generally could not use in the general smart extruder without voiding warranty, because you put a third-party filament, you void the warranty instantly. Whether or not it jams, you pretty much voided it instantly by putting it in there. So they wanted to be able to use third-party filaments essentially, and experiment, as the name of the extruder goes, with their machine and push its capabilities. So the big things that came with this experimental extruder is, well, the big name experimental, and the nozzles. And apparently it might be possible to swap out the PTFE. It's unknown yet, because even the marketing department is unaware of what accessories or parts are going to be available for this thing. Right now you can only buy it as a kit. You can't buy replacement nozzles or anything outside of the nozzles that come with it. But that's not saying that they won't sell them. They're just They don't know yet. Waiting to see what kinds of things happen with this thing. And then they're going to go from there, it seems. So there's an interesting discussion talking about what goes into this new design. It is actually kind of new, and they did something very unexpected. I mean, it could make sense from some standpoints if you start reading between the lines, but it is kind of unexpected being a closed source company. And that being, they released on their own account the experimental extruder shell, and the whole assembly of the injection molded parts for you to print on your own to transform as you like, pretty much. I don't think it comes with the source files, just STL. Yeah, just STL files. But these are so that you do not have to reverse engineer the design of the smart extruder. You can just 3D print the components or import them in your favorite 3D modeling software and modify them as you feel works best for your application. This would be able to, if you're trying to optimize use with flexible filaments, anything of that nature. So it's kind of an answer to their advanced user market, and they are making a very interesting approach to this because it's pushing boundaries, so they say, customizable hardware and software, experimental extruder, yada yada yada, and the hot end goes up to 235 degrees Celsius. So theoretically, what's going on here is you should be able to print pretty much any filament on this extruder that goes to 235 degrees Celsius. Now, everybody's been talking in the chat. I've seen multiple people mention it. Not covered under warranty, not covered under maker care, etc., etc. But there is a loophole to that. Whereas if you are caught using third-party filaments or trying to make modifications to your smart extruder, you could potentially void the warranty and maker care of your entire 3D printer, which can be troublesome if you have a educational environment, etc. If you are running an experimental extruder, you run very low risk of violating any of your warranty terms or maker care clauses on your printer currently, as long as whatever you're experimenting with is going through the experimental extruder. The machine is smart enough to know that the experimental extruder is not the standard smart extruder, and the slicer or slicing software that they utilize is smart enough to detect that you're using an experimental extruder and change the dynamics of how the software works to compensate for that without causing you very much issues with worrying about voiding warranties or your maker care support on your 3D printer. Which kind of makes sense. I mean, that's a decent bone to be trying to hand off. As opposed to just getting completely screwed over for trying to print with pretty much anything besides Makerbot filaments. This is your out to be able to do that kind of stuff without getting in trouble or violating your contract or warranty or whatever with Makerbot, as like an educational facility or prototyping facility, etc. So it's not bad. That's a pretty decent gesture in my book. And then it looks like they've teamed up with ColorFab, and they've got at least 4 approved filaments that they've done their own testing with. But then they express that you can go ahead and push boundaries and use whatever filament you want, within reason, of course, and anything within the 135 degree print temperature range. Something else that they changed, from my understanding, I haven't had a chance to load up the software and look. I don't own a Makerbot. They changed the interface of the software to allow for a little bit more control for the end user when printing with their Makerbot. They added, I guess the update just came out like yesterday or something. You're so PC. So I guess in the newer version of software, which I believe came out like today or yesterday or something like that, you're able to save settings without having the experimental extruder. If you still have the smart extruder, you're able to save settings now. Apparently, before, if you tried to change any sort of print settings at whatsoever, it would reset when you reloaded the software or whatever. So you were kind of stuck with like resetting your settings if you're trying to use an experimental filament or something. I guess maybe that was a failsafe or something to stop you from getting into a routine habit of just point and clicking with third-party filaments or something. I'm not too sure. And it's kind of too late to find out because they've updated the software. So they've added a little bit of extra functionality to the standard users to be able to play with temperatures and whatnot, first layer settings and such. But the thing that's interesting is the experimental extruder has, I guess, a chip in it or a reader or something on it that tells the machine and tells the software, because this printer is connected via network, Wi-Fi or Ethernet usually, or USB from my understandings. And the software detects that you're running the the experimental extruder, and then I guess a whole slew of new options open up and says, okay, let's play with retractions, let's play with print temperatures, let's play with print speeds, and yada yada yada, and opens up a whole nother level of functionality to the slicing software. Something that a lot of us take for granted in a non-closed ecosystem. Simplify 3D, Cura, Kiss Slicer, Slicer by Prusa, and various other slicers available out on the market. Those we already have full control over pretty much every attribute. We can do our retraction settings, we can do our coasting settings in some of the slicers, we can do over extrusion multipliers and under extrusion multipliers, and we got a lot of control over what's going on with the slicer and how it's writing G code for the machine. This is something that was so this is something that the Makerbot users have always been blocked from, because by technicality you can't really use any other slicer, at least from what I understand, with the newer generations of the Makerbot machines. You were forced to use their software. So you were forced to use their software, you had no customizability, so you're kind of just at bay of whatever the slicer decides to do and decides to print for you. So they've opened up the ability for the basic users to have a little bit more control and to be able to save those settings and export them and share them. So like if you have multiple machines that you're doing prints from or whatever, now you can share those settings across all of them or send them to friends or whatever. And then again, if you have the experimental extruder, you're able to have more of a standard level of control over your printer that the most of us are used to being able to access, so that they can start experimenting more with these experimental filaments. That's why something like wood fill is more appealing and metal fills are more appealing. That's why they're pushing those, because those are different things that are really difficult to try to get with printing under the old software with a smart extruder, from my understanding. So I had a pretty interesting conversation with this individual over at Makerbot, and they're pushing for a very interesting direction, it seems. There's something else that's going on. Something else that's going on is they encourage people to share their profiles on their MLabs platform for the different filaments that they've been testing. So if you've dialed in your settings for, I don't know, I'm not going to say really Tallman's nylon because these machines don't have heated beds, so that kind of can't do nylon. If you've dialed in your settings for some sort of PETG or some infill type filament or some third-party brand of filament for your Makerbot, they encourage you to share your settings or help others on the MLabs platform on how to tune the experimental extruder to those particular filaments to work on their Makerbots. Something that they would have heavily discouraged in the past. So it's quite an interesting change of direction for Makerbot, to say the least. They've also included new... I wonder if 3D print companies run in circles when you email them, call them, or tweet them. Huh? Did I miss something here? So they've also done something else interesting in that they've opened up a good portion of their API for both the software and I guess the MLab community, whatever platform that is, so that you can integrate third-party application and third-party scripting to help automate or transition or synchronize or do whatever you want to do if you're a programmer to interface with these different platforms. It's pretty interesting because on their GitHub, I was looking at it earlier today. I forgot to open the link. They don't really have source files, so to speak, or anything, but they've got API documentation here, and they've got the rundown for the Makerbot file specification, and how they work in the different versions that they've got available here, what the thumbnails are and everything, the metadata file. This was all updated about a month ago, or uploaded a month ago, updated 7 days ago. So they've done some interesting things there. Explanation of a thing file, and web print. How to utilize their web print API, it looks like. So it's pretty interesting that they've released all this. This was released 7 days ago. So it's not really source files, but it is documentation. I guess it's a step in an open source type direction. Pretty interesting. I think John means you make 3D printing companies nervous. Well, to be fair, Makerbot was very receptive of accepting my call to talk to them. They actually encouraged it. So if I haven't made an enemy with somebody, I haven't made an enemy with Makerbot, at least yet. We'll see after this show, I guess. So I'm trying to be kind of neutral here. You guys know that I'm very, very opinionated. Makerbot has zero influence over what I'm telling you guys. These are my thoughts based on what my conversation was with them and research that I've done on it so far. And honestly, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys you guys need to go buy a Makerbot and buy an experimental extruder and your problems will be solved. Do whatever you want. If you're in an educational facility that has Makerbots that have smart extruders on them, this could potentially be an option when your smart extruder dies finally, because I guess they have a life cycle, and they wear out or something. Experimental extruder might be an option, it seems. So when I was talking to the rep at Makerbot, I was asking, what is your drive? Where are you guys going with this? Your GitHub is lacking on content. There's no real source. It's just some explanation for some things. You've got a extruder that is not fully hackable. It still uses proprietary control board or chipboard or whatever that's inside. The hot end design is still pretty proprietary. You've got replaceable nozzles, and then you release the experimental shell so people don't have to reverse engineer it. It's a pretty interesting stance to be making as a closed source company, and I don't picture you guys running back to the open source. What is going on here? And so kind of the conclusion of the conversation was that it appears Makerbot, and this is by my own opinion, it appears Makerbot is going towards a more of a open platform type situation. Similar to what people have been talking about with Ultimaker and their Ultimaker 3. People complaining that the Ultimaker is not releasing the Ultimaker 3 specifications and building materials and everything, which I believe they still are. They said they are. They were waiting a year from release. So we're due to be seeing those files hit the internet soon. But it seems like Prusa's done similar with a lot of his machines. He's been withholding some of the, not everything, but a portion of the design stuff, at least for a certain amount of time, and then releasing it. I don't see Makerbot releasing the plans for their Makerbots anymore or anything of that nature, but it seems that they are trying to figure out how to be a little bit more flexible and open with what they have. Maybe in a ditch effort to retain their customer base or get some customer base back. They did express that it isn't really a grab to try to get everybody that hates Makerbot to change their mind and come back and go buy Makerbot. And they are still trying to cater to the customers that they do have. But it is giving their current customers more options and more reasons to stick with them as opposed to going to a competitor. Ultimaker has released files for the 3. Oh, cool. I missed that. Awesome. I'm going to check that out after stream. All my extruders till now is experimental. Did you discuss with Makerbot being sent printers parts? We'll talk about that in a little bit. I'll believe it when I see Makerbot go open platform. Well, they kind of already started that. they've got the extruder that is hackable, it seems, and they've got more adjustability and flexibility in their software. Again, open platform, not open source. And Paul says they have XYZ's definition of open source. No, that's actually incorrect, because the rep never said open source. And when I asked him about open source, he said no. He said, this is not open source. We are still closed source. We are trying to figure out how to be more open without forcing users into warranty voiding circumstances. So they're trying to figure out what portions of the machine that they can open up to the end user for hackability or modification or third-party upgrades or whatever, while still retaining the control over the core aspects. At least so it seems. He didn't specify if there was going to be anything else like this coming up for the machine, if they're going to stop at the extruder, or if they're going to start going into other portions of the machine and opening that up as well, or if maybe they'll give more specifications for extruder. We don't know. Even the guy that I was talking to didn't know, and he was fairly high up, I assure you. If I told you his name, he's pretty high up. He's not one of the lead guys, but he's definitely pretty high up. With that said, there is something that I did notice, and this is my own opinion. They're showing that you can remove the nozzle. It comes with 4 nozzles. Those nozzles have threads on them. Unless they've gone like above and beyond and used, like, I don't know, an imperial thread or a very large thread size or a custom thread type on these nozzles, I'm willing to bet that they'll be interchangeable with one or more of the different nozzles available on the market. Because we've got the standard Mark and E3D nozzles that are all M6 threads. We've got the Mark 10, which is, I believe, an M7 thread. And then we've got reverse threads on the printer bots. I believe they use a reverse thread because it's more of a cap, if I recall correctly, or they used to be or something. But there's different nozzles available on the market. With that being said, there could be the possibility of an option to be able to buy your own nozzles third party and use them in this experimental extruder without violation, supposedly, of your warranty or coverage on the machine itself, which could be a plus. So it's a pretty interesting approach, and you consider it that way. You can go full on and do something like get a Ruby, if you can find a compatible thread that's on a Ruby nozzle possibly, put that on this extruder, and odds are it'll probably outlive the life of the extruder, but then you can take the nozzle off and put another extruder on, and you pretty much never need a new nozzle, and you can print all the abrasive filaments to your heart's desire on this thing, or at least anything that would work without a heated bed. So it's a pretty interesting approach. And like I said, they were definitely expressing that it is not an open source system. It is still very much closed source. They're just trying to figure out if they can open up a portion of the system, and if so, how much of it they'd be willing to open up. It's a very interesting change, and it's a change in an interesting direction. I could see this being beneficial to current owners of the machine that actually utilize the machine. But I don't see this as being really much of an advantage to go to the machine if you don't have one already. Unless maybe you're in an educational environment or something and the warranty and coverage is appealing. Currently, as far as I know, the only other people that have a removable, replaceable hot-end on the fly is the Ultimaker 3. So now you got the Ultimaker 3 and the newer generations of the Makerbots that you pull the hot-end off and put a new one on and you continue printing. You don't clear the jam, or you clear the jam when it's off the machine or whatever. So it's interesting to see, to say the least. But it's nice to see that they aren't claiming open source with respect of what other companies are doing and doing incorrectly. They know they're fully aware that they are not open source, and they're fully aware that they're still going to get flack from the community, most likely, for not being completely open source like they used to be. But the fact that Stratasys is letting them do something like this is actually kind of interesting, and it's something that I think I'm going to be watching going forward. be very interesting to start seeing these out in the field and seeing what people say about them and whether or not they have better luck or worse luck with them, or what they're able to do now that they've got the actual injection molded files. I mean, you got to admit, having this available as opposed to trying to reverse engineer it is kind of surprising. It's true on spec. You 3D print it, and it's a 3D printed replacement of the injection molded part. They're straight on the injection molded parts. So it's interesting to say the least. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Have tap-in die set will travel. Let's see here. Yeah, knowing Makerbot custom thread, it's possible. Who knows? Buy Makerbot. So abrasive filaments will still wear down a ruby nozzle, but a whole lot slower than they would a hardened or stainless. Anything will wear down a nozzle. A ruby is really freaking hard, so your wear rate is significantly less. Still do it over time, but the ruby's been tested up to like 30 kilos of non-stop abrasive filament, I think, or something, without wear. In their lab tests, I think it was. So that's quite significant compared to a plated or steel nozzle. You'll still burn through a steel nozzle. Looked up the Mark 10 nozzle is still an M6 thread. There is a little break that is M7 from what I was reading the other day. It could be wrong though. So the M7 is the nozzle side. If you go into the heater block for the Mark 10 extruder, the Mark 10 extruder has an M7 thread on, I believe it's the M7 thread on the nozzle itself. That's why the nozzles for your Wanhao Duplicator i3s don't work on pretty much anything else except for those, and no other nozzles work on those because it's a larger thread size. Slowward downward spiral of death. They can have a GPL license for their tech. You can hack it, but we won't support your hacks, but you can copycat our tech. John, that sounds about right. But again, they're saying that if you hack this portion of it, you theoretically won't be violating the licensing at all, as long as it's just the experimental extruder that you're running all the hacks on. None of the material printed with traditional printers should be able to damage it. Oh, you mean the ruby? Correct. You can still wear it out over time. Everything you can wear out over time. It's just how resilient it is to wear. So it's a GPL, general public use license. Okay. We need a 200 diamond nozzle. $200 diamond. If Makerbot was smart, they would allow licensed parts to their system. It will allow companies like E3D to cater to the Makerbot community and other 3DP parts companies. Gonna be similar to a car mod. So who knows if they're gonna do that? I mean, who knows? Maybe E3D might reach out to them for whatever reason and say, hey, this is our drop-in replacement to your experimental extruder shell. Who knows? Like, who knows? They haven't even specified what spare parts will be available for the experimental extruder. At this current time, you can only buy the kit. You can't buy any replacement parts, from my understanding, or at least per my conversation earlier. So if you wear out your 0.4 nozzle, you have to go to your 0.6 because there's no replacement available yet. But they weren't saying that they weren't going to. They just were not sure what the demands would be by their user base of what they should actually carry. So they're waiting for people to start running these things to see what kinds of things are requested by their user base, mostly, I guess, that they should be carrying as replacement or field replaceable type items for this. Or if it would be worth it just to keep selling it as a kit, who knows. I can't post a link, but Ultimaker has source files for the 3 and the extended on their GitHub. Okay, I'll find them. I'm very familiar with their GitHub. But thank you, Mark. I didn't know that was released already. You may be able to print the enclosure and hack it into different extruder, but it still have to make firmware adjustments if needed and get the electronics interface board. Correct. And like I said, we don't know what's available, or like mentioned before, maybe they'll allow a third party to contact them and get OEM rights or something to the boards or something. Who knows? We don't know. And the marketing department and anybody I talked to at Makerbot honestly either didn't know or wasn't able to tell me. It was pretty interesting. How frequently should you replace your regular brass nozzle? That's completely subjective to what you're printing in your environment that you're printing, the quality of filament that you're printing, the brand of filament that you're printing, the colors of filament that you're printing, the type of filament you're printing, how frequently you print, and how dirty of an environment you have that you're printing in, and a couple other factors. Hope that was helpful. If I got back into designing, I could probably design something to house an E3D V6. If they become open platform, that's how I envision an open platform. And like I said, John, they honestly do not know what direction they're heading in. Nobody seems to know. Like this experimental extruder appears to have came out of the dev department, and they're like, "Here, sell this." And everybody's like, "What do we do with it? what do we do? What do we allow?" Like, they don't know. It's pretty interesting play by Makerbot, to say the very least. But it's not the type of thing that all bets are off. It's the type of thing that we don't even know what cards are on the table yet. It's very interesting, and I don't think we're gonna find out for a couple months, I think, because the details say that this ships within 3 to 4 weeks. So yeah, we're not going to see really any of these in the field unless beta testers or something start coming forward with comments on this. We're not even going to see anything about it for another month, if not longer, until people that are diehard Makerbot users have started to release their thoughts on these things. Kitting replace when worn. Makerbot experimental nozzle is supplied by E3D. Huh? Let's see here. It could be, let's see here. Which is stronger, carbon fiber or nylon? Carbon fiber is an additive, nylon is a base. Yes. Can you go to a local glass shop if I wanted a glass bed? Technically, yeah. Just ask for a Bolsa glass. It's all dependent on how they want to sell. Pretty much, it's pretty accurate, Brian. The frequency of nozzle replacement is inversely proportionate to the amount of rum consumed drink. I can drink to that. I'll drink to that. Let me properly drink to that. That is good. That is good. Thank you, BAWLS. Tell BAWLS thank you for the ginger balls. I would like more ginger balls. Just saying. My school just bought a Replicator Plus. I recommended an Ultimaker, Prusa, or Lulzbot, and the teacher said she wishes she got the Lulzbot. She was looking at kitting warped parts with their Makerbot. Ouch. Yeah, that could be difficult. They got monkeys in the dev departments. Maybe mantees tell Makerbot what direction their companies go. But don't change the nozzle when drinking. No, don't do that. That can be painful very quickly. Do you know anything about the Capricorn Bowden tube E3D is including in their new Golden V6 hot end? I am familiar with Capricorn Bowden tubes. I saw them at Murph this year. I have a Bowden tube from them that I need to test. I just have to find a machine to actually put it on. As far as the particular one that comes with the Golden V6 by E3D, I have no idea. But I know that they have, like, I think 3 different lines of Bowden tubes made by that Capricorn carries. I'm not sure. Watch Chuck Hollebuck. He's got a review or a comparisons of the CR10 versus the E10, and he mods the E10 with a Capricorn Bowden tube, and he explains why in that video. JATMN pros. What? I'm confused. South Park reference if you don't know. Ah, okay. $199 is quite expensive. Brian, yes, it is very expensive, but not so expensive to an educational environment in some prototyping facilities. Not all of them, but some of them. So who knows? But being as it is, if we go into extruders here, it's actually the same price as a smart extruder. So you can, so when you wear out your smart extruder, you can get a smart extruder for $199, or you can get the experimental extruder for $199 and replace the nozzles. I think that's going to sell itself at that point. And it's compatible with the special smart extruder for the Z18, which has this little thingy, which is right there. Wow. Whoa. Wow. There's a whole replicator 2X. That's awesome. So yeah, I don't know. I think they actually might sell a lot of them, because anybody who's buying their smart extruders would just go, I'm gonna buy the experimental. Give me more versatility. Wow, I didn't check the pricing on this earlier. That's kind of funny. Kanpai! Kanpai! I need to be able to 3D print a copy of myself to go to work tomorrow. All I do is press F5 all day anyways. Database life. So special about it. What? Confused. Let's see here. Capricorn Bowden tube withstands higher temperatures. That's what I'm hearing. I haven't tested it though. You heard it. He said, Prost, time for another drink. Okay, what language is that? Depending on which version of Capricorn, they have a low friction, low tolerance, and high visibility, higher temp. Huh. Prost is German for drink. Ah. What is the special about the borosilicate glass versus the other type? Borosilicate glass is less susceptible to exploding under heat at certain temperatures. It's a little bit stronger. Borosilicate glass is essentially what Pyrex is in some respect. Similar compound. So if you're familiar with Pyrex glassware for the kitchen and why you would get a Pyrex, similar circumstances there. It doesn't explode into 1,000 pieces when it's heated or breaks. There you go. More versatility, less warranty. Not so much. I would actually say more versatility without the warranty void, to be honest. Because I mean, yeah, it's nice to have a warranty on $100 or $200 extruder. At $200, I would hope it comes with a warranty. But the fact that I can do whatever I want with this without avoiding anything that this extruder touches is kind of a plus. F5. It didn't change. Let's see here. German. Oh, the Capricorn tubing. What's so special? 3D print lab. I just told you. Go watch Chuck's video. X-ray tubes are made of Pyrex glass. There you go. American Pyrex or British Pyrex? Yes, it's different. You get the reference. I know they're different. Anyone sell glow-in-the-dark Bowden tube? That would be cool. Yeah, I would. Are we on the Q&A section of the stream now? You know what, you guys? We're already talking on that portion, so yes, we'll go to Q&A. So anybody who's been watching to find out what was going on with Makerbot stuff, hope you found this as helpful. Hope you found this as helpful. I'm not sure what's going on, honestly. I'm curious. I'm gonna be following this. I'm very curious. To be completely honest, I was a fan of Makerbots when I first started 3D printing. I wasn't able to afford a real replicator and ended up getting a clone replicator, which would be the One-How Duplicator 4, which I no longer have and actually kind of wish I still did. But with that said, I have no other personal connection with them. You've heard me be very vocal on social media and in past streams against Makerbot many times and defending them for certain circumstances. I don't know how I feel about this, completely honest. I'm not sure how I feel about this. There's some good and bad to this. I'm very curious to see what goes on in the communities around the ecosystem that utilizes this type of machine and setup, and what kinds of things they say about it. I'll definitely double back on this maybe in a month or two and see how things are going. I'm pretty curious. And someone had mentioned in the chat, am I getting any parts or machines from Makerbot? Not that I'm aware of. I haven't asked for anything and they haven't offered me anything. So as far as I know, I'm not getting a Makerbot anytime soon. It's not necessarily on my must-have list or anything of that nature, so I won't be buying one anytime soon. And like I said, they've had no influence over what I've said on the show. This is my takeaway from my interview with them to find out what was going on. And yeah, we'll see what happens. If you guys want to figure out more details, or there's questions that you have specifically, feel free to ask me on the comment section below the stream, after the stream, and I'll try to address them, or try to get Makerbot to address them if I can. Feel free to tweet Makerbot and let them know you saw the show and you want to know more, or tell them to tell me more, or whatever you want. I don't care. Pretty interesting company now. Definitely. Wow, I'm starting to feel that rum. Definitely making an interesting shift in direction, especially being as I believe they're still owned by Stratasys. So making stuff partially open is very interesting. We'll be curious to see where they go with this going forward. So with that said, you guys, thanks for watching 3D printing tonight. Be sure to tune in next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific. That's -7 GMT currently. That time will be changing soon as the time changes in the first part of November, I think. I have no idea what next week's topic will be. But with that said, thanks for watching. The stream has been sponsored by the totally awesome Tallman 3D. Check them out at tallman3d.com for your nylon filament needs. They didn't tell me to say that. They don't pay me to say that. They pay me for the little button on the stream that you see like down there somewhere, and the link down in the description. Aside from that, the shout out is something I just do because it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to say that I've got sponsored. Check out Fanes.co. Let them know I sent you. I don't get any commissions or anything for sales or anything of that nature, but let them know, and maybe they'll be willing to re-up their contract with me. Their sponsorship ends fairly soon per their contract, and like I said, they don't have any control over what I say either. And as you saw during the 3D Hubs episode that we did a couple weeks ago, or a week ago or something like that, 2 weeks ago I think it was, they weren't even able to influence that, and that completely directly affected them. So my sponsors don't have any control over my show. But with that said, if you guys like the sponsors, make sure you share some love with them on social media. Let them know you appreciate them sponsoring the show. And with that said, we'll roll over to the Q&As and see what the heck is going on in the chat, and apparently see what's going on with the Tico. So if you don't want to stick around for the Q&As, I'll see you next week, 3D Printing Tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific, -7 GMT, here with Captain Balls. Oh, if you're going to TwitchCon this weekend, I will be there. I have no idea where, but I'll be there. I'll see you there. Okay, let's see here. What's going on in the chat? Let me catch up real quick, guys. Later, JATMN, thanks for the Makerbot insight, but a more interesting subject would my request next week. Let's look to the future, not ancient history. Yeah, but it was news, so I have to cover it. This is a news show. It's my personal opinion on news, but it is news. It's kind of the basis of it. It's a talk show. I mean, that makes sense to me, right? Am I wrong on that? I need another drink. Wow. I must have put more rum in here than I thought, and that's really covering the flavor. That, and it's just really sweet. It's a lot sweeter than regular balls. Let's see here. The delay times on the chat is so bad, I typed Capricorn 3 minutes ago. I don't know. Tico response on Kickstarter. Yes, we will get to that in just a moment. Let me catch up on the chat real quick. I'm actually curious about that one. I think I offended the person that was working on her 3D printer on Twitter, JATMN. You caught I was talking to you, right? I feel like a jerk. Give her a tweet. Let her know. I can't recall which conversation that is, especially right now. But tweet out to her and let her know. If you offend somebody, you can always apologize. Just be sincere. That's what I heard, but I couldn't confirm. Let's see here. JATMN, the Tico response basically says that there will be an announcement in 2 weeks. Are you serious? Let's see here. So I have a question. Where can I get the best tacos in OC? You know that question, not me. Where could I crash if I fly out to the OC? That depends. Trasiros, you heard it here third. Good night. Okay, let's see here. What is going on with Tico? This update is on Tico's Kickstarter. Okay, so Tico Kickstarter. Let's see what Edge is able to find on that. Right. Okay, the Unibody 3D printer Tico. $2.9 million. What? Did that always say New York? I thought they were in Canada. Did that always say New York? Whoa, okay, let's see here. Let's see. I saw that update. I'm looking to see what else is going on down here. Okay. So let's see here. Hello everyone. Thank you for your continued involvement in the Tico project. You mean the ranting? We apologize for the prolonged silence. After February's update, the team went to work on raising capital and hope to return with good news. Unfortunately, the search for investment proved long and arduous. Weeks turned into months, and now we are in October. We recognize that this has gotten out of hand, and we respect the community's request for additional information. Because of this, and in light of recent internal and external developments, we are preparing an update that will be posted in approximately 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, we appreciate your continued patience. If you have any questions or suggestions, kindly email us at contact@tico3d.com, and we'll do our best to incorporate your feedback in the upcoming post. Well, that's something. 2 weeks. All Souls Day. 6 to 8 weeks equals 6 to 8 months, so we should expect an update at some point before the next year. At least that's when we'll finally post right on the heels of a bunch of us filing formal complaints. Ticks off alarms in my head. Well, they literally did say internal and external developments. They have said announcements in 2 weeks before, only it take much longer. Let's see if there's any updates. February. That's it. Where is their... There we go, Tico. Toronto, Canada! What? How comes the campaign says New York? I'm confused. Canada kicked them out. Maybe someone bought them out. They did. That did not say New York. Comments about fifth down. Isn't that what I read, or is there was another one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're referring to that. Oops, that's the search for it. Yeah, that's New York. I am curious now. I can type. I thought they were in Calgary. Tax evasion, question mark. I checked way back machine and it always said night. Oh, wow. Interesting. So it always said New York. I didn't realize that. Copyright 2016. Discover Tico, support community. Support. If we go to community, their forums. Okay, so yeah, they haven't updated their forums. And check this out. 1,800 posts, 419 posts, 2,500 posts, 2,800 posts. You know what all these posts are? A heavily unmoderated forum of spam. Cheap New Balance 580 women's shoes. All posted by the same person. 3D Tech. Looks like 3D Tech. What's this? As far as desktop systems go, if he's resins. Somebody's advertising their resin on the Tico forum. So the forum is completely full of spam, like thousands and thousands of buy real passports. There you go. That's relevant. Thousands of posts of spam on their forums. It's completely just like unmoderated whatsoever. And the posts are current, October 18th. Wow. Buy 100% undetectable counterfeit money. Wow. So what I'm curious about now is what does this say? Still registered with GoDaddy. It's got a name attached to it now. Who is that? What? PL. Let's go with English. Self-employed. It's still not English. Technology advisor. Argo. Huh. He does not appear to be Canadian. Registration was updated earlier this year, so 2.9. It's hosted on Amazon now. I don't think it was hosted on Amazon before. Ontario. So maybe it is still the same guy. Huh. I don't remember. I should have looked at that before. So the domain stuff hasn't changed recently. This guy's name's on it. Create the impossible. That's what they were trying to do. Effector travel coming soon. Film extruder coming soon. Print time coming soon. This was all features that was supposed to be collected through their software and aggregated information and statistics. There's their crappy filament. I finally threw away that spool. I never noticed that before. That part is warped. Interesting. So, let's see here. I'm going to scroll back in the chat real quick. I made it. Pio Polly. Actually, you missed the show, but thanks for coming. Spam. Hey, Atomic, how's it going? Moy in the house. Mike's still clipping bad. What? Nobody freaking said anything about the mic clipping the whole damn stream. What the hell? Jeez. He's the CEO, not the right guy. Huh? Oh, the profile that I found on LinkedIn wasn't the right guy? Go figure. Oh well. I'm not going to put too much more effort into it. Their post literally says that they've got nothing to say right now, and that there will be something to be said. But the fact that they broke silence is pretty interesting, actually. Sick as hell. That is not good, dude. Being sick is not good. Don't be sick. Mike sounds fine to me. Mike is fine here. What the hell? We only started talking about clipping when it started clipping. Mike has been good here. It was clipping. How would the mic be clipping? It doesn't have a variable on it. You went closer to the mic, and when you got excited, it started to clip. Well, I can't do anything about that. Smart guy? I can't do anything about that. Ooh, sorry. That was probably loud. So yeah. Mic is okay. Mic troll? Question mark. Pretty much. It seems like it. I'm getting trolled for my mic. It's not cool, you guys. It's mean. Don't be mean like that. So that was interesting to say the least. So anyways, you guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm telling you, there has been a short somewhere. It could be. Who knows? This input could be going out as well. I need to get another one. I may or may not have one coming. I have to find out still. What did Brian do to Nightbot? He said things twice in a row. You're not using... No, I'm not using the lab mic. I've been using this mic the whole time. I don't use the lab mic for this show. So anyways, you guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for watching. And I'll catch you next week. Also, giveaway over on twitch.tv/JATMN tomorrow. Got one of our old sponsors coming back and doing another giveaway. See what happens. Maybe it'll be a lot of fun. I might even have something cool to show you. We'll see. Anyways, you guys, see you next week. 3 printing tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific, Wednesdays. And we're -7 GMT. I said that all backwards, but oh well. Big shout out to our sponsors, Tolman3D.com and Fanes.co. If it wasn't for them, I probably would still be doing the show anyways, I guess. Anyways, share some love. Let them know that you appreciate them for sponsoring. Tell BAWLS thank you for the ginger balls. That's really good rum. And apparently this is very sweet, and it very much covers up the rum because I am now slightly buzzed. So yeah. Anyways, you guys, thanks for watching. You guys are freaking awesome. Love you guys. I'll see you next week. See ya.